Have you ever wondered if there are any countries where Muslims are not allowed? While it may sound surprising, there's no place on earth where people are outright banned based solely on their religion. But some nations have implemented policies that seem to disproportionately affect Muslims. The Muslim population is predicted to grow more than twice as fast as the overall population by 2060. It is also predicted that Islam will take over as the largest religion in the world, surpassing Christianity after 2050. You will be surprised to know as of April 2023 the global Muslim population was over 2 billion, which is about 24.1% of the world's population. This makes Islam the world's second largest religion. After Christianity, there aren't any countries where Muslims are outright banned from entry based solely on their religion. However, there are places with restrictions, tensions, or policies that can be challenging for Muslims, especially in certain regions or for those from specific countries. So in today's video we are going to show you top 10 countries where Muslims are not allowed in 2024. But before starting the video, I want to request we put our best efforts to create our every single video, so please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start. Number 10. Slovakia. Unique castles, caves, hot springs, folk architecture, the European Dead Sea, a famous Celtic town, European wilderness, and much more. These are some of Slovakia's unique tourist destinations which are hard to find elsewhere in the world. The population of Slovakia was 5.43 million in 2023, compared to 5.41 million a decade earlier. In the 2021's 3,862 persons self-identified themselves as Muslim, though representatives of the Muslim community estimated their number at 6,000. Slovakia currently has 7 mosques within its territory. Islamophobia in Slovakia has been a growing concern in recent years, reflecting a broader trend of rising anti-Muslim sentiment across Europe. While Slovakia has a small Muslim population estimated to be less than 0.1% of the total population, Islamophobia manifests in various ways, including political rhetoric, social attitudes, and policy decisions. Slovak politicians, particularly from right-wing and nationalist parties, have used anti-Muslim rhetoric to gain support. The fear of Islam and Muslims is often exaggerated. Despite the small Muslim population, this rhetoric became particularly pronounced during the European migrant crisis in 2015, when Slovakia, like many other European countries, saw an influx of refugees, many of whom were Muslim. Slovakia's former Prime Minister Robert Fico made headlines by stating that Islam has no place in Slovakia and that his government would not accept Muslim refugees. Such statements have contributed to a hostile environment for Muslims, and those perceived to be Muslim. Public opinion in Slovakia has been largely unfavorable towards Muslims. Surveys and studies have shown that a significant portion of the Slovak population holds negative views of Islam and Muslims, often associating them with terrorism and extremism. There have been reports of hate crimes and discrimination against Muslims, including verbal harassment and physical attacks. The small Muslim community in Slovakia often feels marginalized and vulnerable. In 2016, Slovakia passed a law making it more difficult for Islam to be recognized as an official religion. The law requires a religious group to have at least 50,000 members to be recognized, which is high threshold given the small number of Muslims in the country. This law effectively prevents the Muslim community from establishing officially recognized mosques or religious schools. Slovak media has played a role in spreading Islamophobic sentiments by frequently portraying Islam and Muslims in a negative light. Media coverage often focuses on terrorism, violence, and cultural differences, reinforcing stereotypes and fear among the public. Slovakia's approach to Islam and Muslims has drawn criticism from international human rights organizations. These organizations have urged Slovakia to adopt more inclusive and tolerant policies towards religious minorities, including Muslims. Number 9. Bhutan. To many travelers, Bhutan is known as the happiest place on earth thanks to its unique development philosophy of gross national happiness instead of just measuring economic output. Bhutan's focus on the citizens' well-being and happiness is extremely holistic. Islam is considered a minor religion in Bhutan, with roughly 5,000 to 7,000 Muslims in the country, but despite the low Muslim population, many Islamophobic activities take place in Bhutan. Bhutan is not widely regarded as Islamophobic, primarily because the Muslim population in the country is very small and not a focal point of public or political discourse. Bhutan is predominantly Buddhist, and its government emphasizes the preservation of Buddhist culture while religious freedom is guaranteed by the constitution. The promotion of non-Buddhist religions is restricted, which can indirectly impact religious minorities including Muslims. However, there is no significant evidence of active or widespread Islamophobia in Bhutan. The lack of public mosques and the private nature of Islamic practices in the country reflect the challenges faced by religious minorities rather than specific Islamophobia. In summary, Islamophobia is not a prominent issue in Bhutan, but the environment for religious minorities is shaped by the country's strong emphasis on Buddhist identity. Number 8. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a country that is rich in history and culture. It is home to some of the oldest civilizations in the world, and its people have a deep and abiding love for their traditions. Sri Lanka is also a country of natural beauty. Islam is the third largest religion in Sri Lanka, with about 99.7% of the total population following the religion. About 1.9 million Sri Lankans adhere to Islam as per the Sri Lanka census of 2012. Islamophobia in Sri Lanka has been a growing concern, particularly since the end of the civil war in 2009. Tensions between the majority Salese Buddhist population and the Muslim minority have been fueled by nationalist groups spreading anti-Muslim rhetoric. This has led to incidents of violence, including the 2014 Alamar riots and the 2018 Kandy riots, where Muslim properties were destroyed and lives were lost. The 2019 Easter Sunday bombings by Islamist extremists further intensified Islamophobia, leading to widespread harassment and discrimination against Muslims. Government policies such as the temporary ban on face coverings and the mandatory cremation of COVID-19 victims have also contributed to the perception of marginalization within the Muslim community. Overall, Islamophobia in Sri Lanka is driven by ethnic, religious, and political factors, resulting in significant challenges for the Muslim minority in the country. Number 7. India. India is famous for its rich cultural heritage, historical monuments like the Taj Mahal, diverse cuisine, vibrant festivals, and spiritual destinations. The country's natural landscapes, from the Himalayas to Kerala's backwaters and bustling cities like Delhi and Mumbai, also attract numerous tourists. The fun fact is that India is home to 10.9% of the world's Muslim population. According to Pew Zero Research Center, there can be 213 million Muslims in 2020. India's 15% population. Islamophobia in India has become a significant issue, particularly in recent years, with rising anti-Muslim sentiments in various parts of the country. This has been fueled by political rhetoric, communal violence, and social media, leading to increased polarization between the Hindu majority and the Muslim minority. Key incidents include the 2002 Gujarat riots, the 2020 Delhi riots, and the lynchings of Muslims accused of cow slaughter. Additionally, policies such as the Citizenship Amendment Act, or CAA, and the National Register of Citizens, or NRC, have been criticized for discriminating against Muslims. Social media and misinformation have also played a role in spreading Islamophobic narratives, leading to hate speech and violence. The Muslim community in India faces challenges related to discrimination, social exclusion, and economic marginalization, making Islamophobia a pressing concern in the country. Number 6. Central African Republic. The Central African Republic has been almost continuously unstable since independence from France in 1960. It is rich in diamonds, gold, oil, and uranium, but has one of the world's poorest populations. As of June 2024, the Central African Republic's Muslim population is estimated to be 8.9%, or 750,000 people, making Islam the second largest religion in the country after Christianity. Most Muslims live in the northeast near the borders with Sudan and Chad, which are also predominantly Muslim. Islamophobia in the Central African Republic has been a severe issue, especially during the civil conflict that began in 2012. The conflict primarily between the Muslim Seleka rebel groups and the Christian anti-Balaka militias has led to widespread violence against Muslims. Many Muslims have been killed, displaced, or forced to flee the country as entire communities were targeted by anti-Balaka militias. This violence has included the destruction of mosques and brutal attacks on Muslim civilians. The conflict has turned into a humanitarian crisis, with significant displacement and suffering, particularly among the Muslim population. Islamophobia fueled by the conflict remains a major obstacle to peace and reconciliation. In number 5, China. China is an exciting blend of tradition and modernity. Centuries old temples surrounded by gleaming skyscrapers, colorful street food, and imperial palaces striking natural formations and ancient pagodas. Chinese people tend to honor tradition, but they also embrace many parts of Western popular culture. As of April 2024, China's Muslim population is estimated to be around 25 million people, which is less than 2% of the country's total population. This population is made up of 10 Muslim-majority ethnic groups, which account for 20% of China's 55 ethnic minorities. The largest groups are the Uyghur and Hui, who together make up almost 90% of China's Muslim population. Islamophobia in China primarily affects the Uyghur Muslim minority in the Xinjiang region. The Chinese government has implemented severe measures against Uyghur, including mass internment in so-called re-education camps, extensive surveillance, and restrictions on religious practices. The government's actions are officially framed as counter-terrorism and efforts to combat extremism, but they have led to widespread international criticism for human rights abuses. These measures include forced assimilation, cultural suppression, and significant interference in religious practices. The situation reflects broader issues of state control and ethnic minority repression in China. Number 4. Angola is known for its natural resources, particularly oil and diamonds. The capital city, Luanda, is known for its lively atmosphere and beautiful beaches. The Kangila Falls, located in the Mange province, is the second largest waterfall in Africa and a must-see for nature enthusiasts. Angola is a predominantly Christian country, with Islam being a minority religion. As of 2014 census, there are 195,000 Muslims in Angola, representing 1% of total population. Most Muslims in Angola are Sunni. Islamophobia in Angola is relatively less prominent compared to other regions, largely due to the country's small Muslim population, which constitutes a minor percentage of the overall population. Most Angolans are Christian, with a small minority practicing Islam. Although there are occasional reports of discrimination and social tension, there is no widespread or systematic Islamophobia in Angola. The Muslim community generally integrates well into society, and there are no significant conflicts or policies specifically targeting. Number 3. Japan. Japan is called the land of the rising sun because from China it appears that the sun rises from the direction of Japan. The Japanese people call their country Nippon, or Neon, which literally translated means source of the sun. It is loosely translated into English as land of the rising sun. In this country, where the sun rises first, activities against Muslims have also started increasing. As of August 2023, Japan has an estimated 230,000 Muslims, which is about 0.15% of the country's population. The majority of Muslims in Japan are immigrants from countries like Indonesia, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, with about 50,000 native Japanese Muslims. Islam is one of the smallest minority faiths in Japan, but it has been growing quickly due to immigration from Muslim-majority countries. Islamophobia in Japan is not widely documented but does exist to some extent. Japan has a very small Muslim population consisting mainly of EXP patriots and immigrants. The lack of familiarity with Islam among the general public can sometimes lead to misunderstandings and negative stereotypes. Incidents of Islamophobia include occasional reports of discrimination and social exclusion, as well as challenges related to the construction of mosques and Islamic centers. While Japan Jinwan Rally maintains a high level of social harmony, the small size of the Muslim community and limited public awareness can contribute to sporadic prejudice. Efforts to improve interfaith dialogue and increase awareness about Islam are ongoing to address these issues. Number 2. North Korea. Despite being one of the poorest countries in the world, it maintains one of the largest militaries and devotes significant resources to its illicit nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs. As of 2010, the Pew Research Center estimated that North Korea had 3,000 Muslims, which was an increase from 1,000 in 1990. However, a 2020 report from the State Department suggests that Muslims, Christians, and Chinese folk religionists make up less than 0.5% of the population. Although North Korea does not recognize any religion in the world, Islam is specifically banned. Islamophobia in North Korea is not well documented due to the country's extreme isolation and lack of transparency. North Korea has a very small Muslim population, primarily consisting of diplomats or expatriates, as there are no known mosques or Islamic institutions within the country. The North Korean government maintains strict control over religious practices and is known for its repression of all forms of religion. Number 1. Myanmar. The country is called the Golden Land as it has many beautiful golden temples such as Schwan, Pagoda, and other calming spots to experience peace of mind. There are many beaches and Buddhist temples which make Myanmar an incredibly beautiful country. As of 2016, 3% of Myanmar's population, or 1,147,495 people, identified as Muslim. This is a significant decrease from the 4.3% Muslim population recorded in the 2014 census, which was likely due to the large number of Rohingya refugees who left the country in 2017. Islamophobia in Myanmar is a significant issue deeply intertwined with the country's ethnic and religious conflicts. The Rohingya Muslim minority has faced severe persecution, including violence, displacement, and human rights abuses, particularly since the military-led crackdown in 2017. The government and some segments of the majority Buddhist population have often portrayed RENAS in a negative light, fueling anti-Muslim sentiment. The persecution has led to widespread international condemnation and a severe humanitarian crisis, with many Rohingyas fleeing to neighboring Bangladesh. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. And drop a comment below. What are your thoughts on religious freedom around the world?